Hey guys, I wanted to come on here because I'm going to do a Topics on My Mind video. It is in 1080p, so I'm going to put it on Premiere because for some odd reason when you put Premiere with a 4K video, YouTube doesn't register it as 4K afterwards. It's like it takes a while before it registers that. So this is going to be in 1080p for right now. And hopefully you guys enjoy it, and I'm just going to talk about a variety of topics. I will list them hopefully in the description box. If I don't, pretty much, enjoy what I'm going to talk about. So just to let you know, and I'll be doing these in an unusual way. I'll be doing some things while I talk about some of the topics in different locations and all that. So enjoy, guys. So here we go with today's Topics on My Mind for the last day of November 2020. Okay, so the first topic I want to talk about while I do some dishes here is basically what is the Electoral College going to decide to do in the next 14 days, because literally it's the next 14 to 24 days. What is it going to decide to do? I mean, we know that, right now, according to a majority of the media, Biden is the president-elect. He's basically, in their eyes, deemed the 46th president. It's all said and done. It's a done deal, if you know what I mean. But the question is, what will the Electoral College do? I mean, a lot of people like to reference, what happened 20 years ago and how it looked like Al Gore was in the driver's seat to become president in 2000, and then the Electoral College went with George W. Bush, basically went with George Bush, with George Bush's son, George Jr., we'll put it that way. They decided to go with him instead of Al Gore, and I think it's because there was, just like now, some fraudulent voting. There was too much controversy, I think, on the Al Gore side of the situation, and the Electoral College just, I guess, decided, screw it, we're going to go with George Bush because, his side is presenting all this evidence, and Al Gore's side is basically focusing more on, okay, what are we going to do once we start the Gore presidential reign and all that? So, people, they look back at that and they wonder to themselves, or they start asking themselves, are we in for a repeat? Some are saying, in a big way, no, we're not in for a repeat. We're not going to get, basically, the same thing happening that we did 20 years ago, that it's pretty much a done deal. And and look, there's an old saying that my mom and family members, like her sisters and all that, say, and it's pretty much true. God has a reason for a lot of things happening in a certain way, and if it's meant to be that Biden's going to be the new president, then God has a reason for that. Biden's just, part of the plan, part of God's bigger plan, and what he's going to do to bring this world back to him. But again, we have a similarity to where it looks like there's too much controversy, and basically, if there's too much controversy, they may make the decision to say, hey, look, we don't want to, they basically may make the decision to be like, look, we're just going to stick with Trump for maybe 2 years. I mean, here's what I've been thinking about that, guys. Everybody has said that Judge Amy Barnett is pretty much, as I try to zoom out here, hold on for a second. Well, not zoom in, but zoom out. Everybody is pretty much saying that Amy Barnett is the key to Trump, retaining the office, and that pretty much she's the ace in the sleeve for Trump. And that might be true, but here's what I envision happening, and this is just a speculation on my part. What I see happening is if it gets down to Amy Barnett for right now, making the deciding factor as to what the future is going to hold, she might, along with the Electoral College's agreement, or at least kind of suggest it to them, she might just say, hey, why don't we hold off until 2 years from now when another election will take place, usually the election for state officials and stuff like that. Why don't we hold off till then, let people re-vote when it's basically back to normal, and then go from there. In other words, basically suspend the election or the official election and inauguration or putting into office Joe Biden for another 2 years until things clear up. And then that way, come basically 2024, or not 2024, but 2022, along with voting for new governors and new Senate members and House members and stuff like that, and mayors and councilors and all that, that perhaps they do a special redo, a special re-election, a special presidential re-election, and just basically allow Trump and Biden or basically allow the supporters of both parties to continue where they left off. In other words, kind of just redo the vote. Hold off until 2022 and then do a re-vote, do a re-election. Have them go and campaign again if they want to, but this time do a re-election, a re-vote, and this time make sure it's in person so that even if Biden comes out on top that time around, at least it'll be more legit. That's what I think is going to happen. And I know it sounded like I rambled there, and that was a whole mouthful, if you will, of what I just said. But I could see the Electoral College and maybe Judge Amy Barnett of the Supreme Court saying, yeah, let's wait. Let's wait another 2 years, and then along with the governmental elections of governors and mayors and council and state senates and state houses and councilors and all that, we'll also throw in a special re-election re-vote for the president of the United States. And this time it'll be done in person, because hopefully there won't be another pandemic hitting us in another 2 years. And if it does, then and it's out of nowhere. It's like, where did this come from? That's going to cause a lot of suspicion. But that's what I think is going to happen, because, I think the Electoral College, unless they're in the Democratic back pocket, as some people would view them to be, you can only, imagine what's next on the agenda for them, what's next on the block, and basically they're going to want to make sure they don't get any more bad press, any more controversy heading their way. So they're probably going to say, hey, they'll probably agree with Amy. Like, I got a feeling they're going to go down that path. I don't know why. I just do. So that way, even if Trump is in office for another 2 years, at least it'll give people another 2 years or so to basically do a re-election or re-vote in person, then, through mail and all that. Heck, they might even wait till next November. Hold off until next November and see what happens. Who knows? I mean, heck, they're doing it with the Olympics. Olympics are usually every 4 years, but now it's an odd year that it's going to be happening. So why not do the same with the presidential election? Who knows? But that's just my thoughts on that first topic. And now, time to move on to our next topic. So, next on the agenda, I talked about this before, but I'm going to talk about it again. And that is college football. Now, we all know that college football, pretty much the season right now, is coming to an end. Basically, the final games are being played, and by at least the second or third month in December, we will pretty much know exactly what the bowl games are going to look like, who's going to be in it and all that. But again, I just feel that this season you know, I understand, like I've mentioned before, I understand the name value and all that of, of like Ohio State and UCLA and all that and USC but I feel basically that a lot of the schools that started late, like the conferences basically, like the Big Ten where Ohio State's out of, like the Pac-12 where USC's out of. I just feel that, well, basically, they should hold off on letting their teams into these big games. I mean, what do you have? What is it? You have the Rose Bowl, I think, and the Sugar Bowl? Or is it the Fiesta or the Sugar Bowl? One of them? You have one of them basically serving as... You have two of them at least serving as a semifinal this year. You have two of them serving as a semifinal. And the others are at large bids. The others are at large bids. As a matter of fact, let me look that up real quickly. Let me look that up real quickly. Hold on for a sec. As I disconnect the camera there. But let me look that up real quickly. But, you have these schools that, well, you have two of the college bowl games. Two of the major New Year's Day 6 ones. And let's see. Okay, it's this I. Let's see. Okay, so basically the bowl games. There's 46 last year played throughout the season, but a notable number of have bowed out this season due to the COVID situation or the pandemic. Those bowl games being Bahamas, Celebration, Fenway, which I guess is going to debut next year, Hawaii, Holiday, Quick Lane, and Red Box. So, now let's see what it says here. Trying to see. Oh, here we go. This will work. NCAA. It's always the best place to go to.
We love the new apartment.
There is a bit of a...
So, okay, yeah. So Rose Bowl and Sugar Bowl are semifinal games. Fiesta, Orange Bowl are are games that you could do at large. Cotton Bowl and Peach Bowl are the same thing. I think if they're still going on. So I think I see the Cotton Bowl. Trying to see if I can find the Peach Bowl if it's still going on. Yeah, the Peach Bowl's still going on. So you got the Cotton, you got the Fiesta, you got the Orange, and you got the Cotton, you got the Peach, you got the Fiesta, and you got the you got the Cotton, you got the Fiesta Bowl, you got the Peach, and you got the Orange Bowl. That pretty much can be at large bids, at large, can host basically, at large teams. That's what they can do, but yet they won't because of the name value. And I think that's kind of stupid, if you know what I mean. You got all these other schools that have worked their butts off to get notice, and they're going to get overlooked by teams. Like I said, sorry about the interruption, the battery died, but as I was saying, which I believe is complete BS, because you have a lot of other schools that have been going on since the beginning out of the season that deserve a better chance and a much more deserving chance than even some of the big name schools from the Big Ten and the Pac-12. I mean, if you want to let them in a bowl game, fine, that's not a problem. But give these other schools that have been going on for a while, a chance. Everybody's talking probably more so about the AAC, the All-American Conference. More, they're talking about teams out of that, like Cincinnati, the Cincinnati Bearcats, more so than they ever have. I mean, yeah, the AAC can be in a large bid at any time throughout its, short history. But the point is, this is the most anybody's ever talked about a team or a few teams out of that conference making a jab at the New Year's Day 6 or even the college football playoffs. So I believe you need to basically, if I'm the NCAA, again, I understand the name recognition and all that, but now you even have some people over at ESPN, FS1, FS2, CBS Sports Network, all these places saying, hey, look, basically, they're pointing out and saying, hey, look, we get that these teams have name value, but, they haven't been playing so long, all these other schools have. I mean, one of the teams they're talking about is out of the Sun Belt Conference, and it's Liberty, or Independent, Independence, or the the FSBS Independence? They're talking about Liberty. Liberty's undefeated as far as last time I saw. Why not put them in consideration? I'm just pointing out things that, to me, make more logical sense. Again, I understand the pandemic held off on a lot of things when it came to these conferences. I mean, these two conferences were even considering spring football to make up for the not playing in the fall. But yet, here they are, and now all of a sudden they're being considered for, the college football playoffs and the New Year's Day 6 bowl games, which to me is unfair to the schools and in the various conferences that they're a part of that have been going on since the beginning. So in my opinion, I still stick by this. If you're going to be fair, reward the schools and the conferences that have been going on since the beginning. Reward them by putting them into major bowl games that'll definitely put the national spotlight on them, and just give the slots to the teams out of the Big Ten, out of the Pac-12 that only began recently, and say, look, this is what you get for not making the decision at the beginning and probably working out something there. So that's just my opinion, because I think hard work should be rewarded and should be paid off. And these schools, from the Sun Belt, the Independents, the AAC, Conference USA, Mountain West, did it just, you get the idea. They should be rewarded. They should be rewarded more so than these other schools. That's just my opinion. Because hopefully this will teach those conferences a lesson and be like, oh, maybe we should have done this instead of that, so that we would get this opportunity. It would be more of a fair way of looking at it, in my opinion. Okay, so the next topic I want to talk about here is, well, it's really interesting. Because when I watch a lot of Saber Sparks reviews lately, they all have a theme. And those themes are furry related. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you know what a furry is by now. I mean, you go to San Diego Comic-Con or any kind of convention when we're able to do so next year, and you notice that a lot of people like to dress up. Sometimes they dress up as their favorite anime characters, game characters, you name it. But, sometimes you'll also come across somebody or a group of people that will dress up as furries. Heck, when I was in San Francisco one time for a trip, I think it was for my third oldest nephew's birthday, we were in San Francisco. I saw a group of people dressed up as furries walking the pier. in broad daylight. Well, not broad daylight, broad sunset, if you will. So the question is, why is it easier for furries to become bronies and pegasisters and vice versa? I think the reason being is because it's an easy transition. I think because of the fact that bronies / pegasisters are, relatable and connected to My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, that it basically makes it easy for the public to kind of accept them being fans of other anthropomorphic media. So I believe, honestly, it makes the transition a lot easier for people to, go from not being... I think, and honestly, what I'm trying to say is it makes the transition easier for bronies and pegasisters to become furries. The same can be said if you're a fan of furries. If you're part of the furry community, and you become fans of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, and you start noticing that maybe you're becoming a brony and you're becoming a pegasister, you realize that the transition is not that hard. You start noticing the transition's not that hard because of the fact that, well, pretty much you're a fan of anthropomorphic characters anyway, so, why not become a brony and a pegasister, as well, to add to that, because it's pretty much very similar. All you are is just changing your status when you're talking about My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. That's about it. That's what I think it really is. I think it's just an easy transition. But, when you look at bronies and you look at pegasisters, you look at furries, and you say, well, what makes them want to be this way? And I think it's basically the characters, honestly, that, are, looked at as the representations of the furry community. Like, people will look at a Minerva Mink, they'll look at a Judy Hopps, they'll look at a Princess Sally, if you will. They'll look at a Cindy Bear, they'll look at a Fondeer. And yes, those are all female characters, don't get me wrong, I know that. But they'll look at them, and as I said beforehand in one of my Anime Girl Profile Confidentials about Vanilla the Rabbit and then Mrs. Incredible, they basically look at them, both male and female, they look at them as eye candy. And basically that, hey, if the creators are not that ashamed to draw the characters in this manner, then I shouldn't be ashamed of being a fan of them and maybe wanting to dress up like them for occasions. Like there's one person, I think in San Antonio, Texas, or around the Texas area, called Rabbit in the Room, who for years has been dressing up herself as these various characters, like Bridget from American Tail, the first American Tail movie. She dresses herself up as Minerva at times, or some anime characters. So, and she has no shame of it. And she has no shame. She doesn't worry about what people say about her. She just goes about her business. She goes about her day and walks around in costume and role plays as that character. Because it's easy for her. And now I think it's even more easy for her because she's noticing that there are other people out there that are cool with it. Because they're fans of not just anthropomorphic characters, both male and female, but also fans of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, which makes it, again, an easy transition from both perspectives. So that's why, it's easy for a furry, it's easy for someone in the furry community to become a brony and a pegasister, and vice versa. Okay, guys, so for our final topic, we're going to talk about something that I found out about by listening to Pro Wrestling Unlimited, as well as to Solid Monster Sounds Off, and that is the iconic Skydome in Toronto, Canada, now known as the Rogers Centre, is being discussed for demolition. Now, what that means basically is the people in the Rogers Corporation, the Rogers Center Corporation, from what Jason Solomon, Solomonster sounds off, was able to point out, is they plan to do this because just like a lot of stadiums, iconic stadiums like the Silver Dome, Veterans Stadium, in Philadelphia, Three Rivers, Candlestick, and all that, the reason they plan to do this is because they want to, create a more modern, more family-friendly, fan-friendly stadium, interactive stadium, or environment, if you will, as well, on that land. But alongside it, they also want to create, like, I guess, apartments, condos, or something like that, in the place of the Skydome. So, like, you got this massive area where the Skydome in Toronto is located, and they want to basically make a new stadium for the Blue Jays, but also at the same time, in the same vicinity, they want to create apartments or something like that. And this is just being considered right now. There's no finalizing of it. And my honest opinion is, I hope they don't, because obviously you could tell that the people in the Rogers Corporation has put a lot of money and effort into keeping the Skydome, running, and keeping it updated and modernizing it with all kinds of things. So, why would you want to take down this iconic venue? Why would you take it down? I mean, I can understand financially it does take money to keep up every year, and that this year has not been easy for a lot of, people in the Toronto area. I mean, the NBA basically made the announcement because of the non-agreement that they could make basically because of the non-agreement that they could, basically because of the disagreement between them and the Canadian government. They can't have the Raptors the Toronto Raptors can't play, at the Air Canada Centre. They can't. What's going to happen is the Raptors are going to be playing, for the time being, in Tampa Bay. I don't know if it's going to be a Tropicana Field, which I don't think it will be. I think it's probably going to be, where the Tampa Bay Lightning play. I think that's what it's going to be. It's going to be, there, and then in the facility of the Tampa Bay Lightning. So that's kind of hard. That's kind of hard to imagine if you're a fan of the Raptors and you're wanting to see them in person, or at least want to see the first home game on your screen from the Air Canada Centre, and and basically when you get ready to see it, it's not going to. Basically when you get ready to see that home game, it's not going to be at the Air Canada Centre. It's going to be in, Tampa Bay, at the home of the Tampa Bay Lightning. So, yeah, I can understand financially this year it hasn't been easy for them to keep it up or even have it open because of the pandemic. But honestly, I think again, they put too much effort, too much time and all that I think they should keep it. I think they should just continue modernizing it, financially figure out, okay, what can we spend to keep it up, keep the facilities up and everything, and just go from there. Just go from there. And if you want to create a new stadium, that's fine. But you know what you need to do, in my opinion? You get the people's vote. You ask the people in Canada, in Toronto, if they want the Skydome / Rogers Centers torn down, or do they want to keep it, and just have you modernize it. Let them vote on it. Put it to a vote. Or however you guys do the elections up there, put it to a vote. And I guarantee you put it to a vote, a majority of those people are going to say, keep the Skydome / Rogers Centre alive, keep it open, and, and in addition, we'll pay for whatever maintenance and upgrades it needs. Because I don't think, they want to lose this iconic venue. They don't. I mean, Houston, Texas has kept some remnants of the Astrodome as we speak. Pretty much intact. They haven't demolished it completely, but they've kept it somewhat intact, if you will. Or kept some remnants of it, if you will. And it's because people don't want to lose it. It's like, okay, build a new stadium, no problem, but keep the Astrodome. That's part of our state. That's an iconic national monument of our state. And, you know, this isn't. So you know, I'm just saying, you know, I think Toronto, Ontario, Canada, I think Toronto, Ontario, Canada, I think the city of Toronto and Ontario itself should put it to a vote and let the people decide. And if the people say, hey, tear it down, give us something new, then fine. But I guarantee you they won't. They'll want to keep it. They're going to want to keep it open. So, that's pretty much about it though, guys, for this Topics on My Mind video. Thank you all for watching. Let me know what you guys have to think about some of the topics I talked about. I know some of them maybe seemed a little unusual, but let me know what you guys think down below. Comment if you like. And I am out. Thank you all for watching.